Good morning and welcome to Digital Learning Day. Today, I'm going to show you a webinar on SAMuRai, a technology tool for teachers to evaluate integrating technology into their classroom. The agenda for today is, what is the SAMuRai model? We're going to identify lessons for each level of the model, examine different ways that you can use the model to better use technology in your classroom. And also how the SAMuRai model correlates to Bloom's taxonomy, which we're all very familiar with. And I'm just going to review some of our technology, district technology resources. SAMuRai is, as I mentioned before, it's a tool for teachers to evaluate how they are incorporating technology into their classroom. There's 4 levels. The lowest level is substitution. This is no functional change. The next level is functional improvement. And if you move up the ladder, it's modification and redefinition. As you can see on the right side of the screen, there's also 2 more levels, enhancement and transformation. These are very similar to Bloom's in the fact that you're moving up the model. The lower levels, and you want to reach the top levels, which will have your higher order thinking skills. Similar to Bloom's, the lower levels are remember and understand, and the top levels are creativity and evaluating. To better explain this, I'm going to use an example of Starbucks coffee. So we have a cup of coffee. I go to Starbucks and I buy a cup of Starbucks coffee. This is substitution. There is no change. It's the same coffee. I just have it in a Starbucks cup. When you get to the next level, which is augmentation, it's a little bit of a change, just a little functional change. So now I have a latte. So the latte, it's still coffee, but I just made a little bit of a change. When I get up to modification, I have a caramel macchiato. And here you have all the bells and whistles. I have the caramel, I have the whipped cream, but ultimately it's still coffee. When you get to the redefinition level, this is something that was inconceivable before. You could never do this with technology. So now my coffee has changed into pumpkin spice. So this was inconceivable years ago. And now this is what we want our teachers to reach at the redefinition level. As I said before, there's 4 levels: substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. Now I'm going to just give you some examples of each level. Substitution, which is no change. Currently, teachers are using smartboards. Previously, you used a blackboard. That's just substituting technology. Nothing has changed. If you used an atlas, instead of using an atlas, you use an online map. Again, the task has not changed. It's the same. You're just substituting it for technology. When you move up the level to augmentation, it just has a functional change. Oops. So, next one. All right, so you might use online gaming, make a presentation. The PowerPoint in substitution was just a PowerPoint. All right, now you might add links, you might add video to your presentation. Some more examples of augmentation would be using Google Docs. You're sharing your document with your teacher or with your peers. Again, with the presentation, you're adding audio, video, hyperlinks. This is a functional improvement. The next level is modification, and this is where you're getting into the transformation. So now students are collaborating with their peers. They might create an ebook on learning. This is a significant task redesign. Some other examples would be students will share their presentations with other students in the class. You might be working on a project and each of them have a certain responsibility and they're sharing the same document. They might create a Google Doc and share it as a blog and also get feedback to improve the quality of the writing. Another example would be if they create a digital travel brochure, they use multimedia and they create a video, right? This is a significant task redesign, and again, this is at the higher level of transformation. The last level is redefinition, and this is where you do a technology task that was previously inconceivable. We never had Google Earth, Google Hangout, virtual reality, creating podcasts, again, creating an ebook. These are all technology tasks that previously were inconceivable. Some more examples would be VoiceThread. I mean, there's a lot of iMovie to create a digital story, Google Earth. Again, I said Google Hangouts, all tasks, technology tasks that were previously inconceivable. And at this level, again, you're at the top level, and it's the same as Bloom's. We want to go up the ladder, and this is where students are collaborating, communicating, evaluating. All right, this is the top level of students getting those higher order thinking skills. I'm just going to give you an example of a lesson. So the original task was to write a report about a city. Students just using a pen and paper, we're going to the library. So now I'm going to substitute it with a Google Doc. It's the same task. They're not doing anything different. The only thing they're doing is using technology to type the paper. If I move up to augmentation, which is a functional improvement, all right, so I'm going to share it with my teacher. Other things would be they use a thesaurus, they use spell check, right? These are things that just have a functional improvement. When you get up to the next level, which is modification, all right, this is a significant change. So now they're sharing the document with their teacher, but they're also going to share it with their other students in the class. And they're going to get comments and they're going to get peer feedback. All right, this is a great, significant change. And when you get up to the top level, redefinition, using Google Hangouts, maybe they're talking about a city, maybe they want to connect to another classroom in the city that they're researching. So this was a task previously that was inconceivable before. Another example of a lesson would be instead of using an atlas, you use a map. And I'm just going to go over the bottom. So the bottom one is substitution. You use Google Earth to locate the city. And you, as I mentioned before, we want to get up to the transformation. So when you get up to redefinition, they narrated Google Earth tour and shared it online. That was something that was inconceivable previously with technology. So again, teachers are not always going to be at the redefinition level, but this is a tool for you to look at how you're currently using technology in your classroom and how you can get up to the redefinition and modification levels of Bloom's. Again, this is just an image of, transformation and enhancement levels. You want to move up the ladder the same as Bloom's. These are some questions that you should ask yourself when you are using this model and evaluating technology in your classroom. What will I gain by replacing the task with new technology? Does the tech add new features that improve the task? Does the task significantly change with the use of technology? And does the technology allow for creation of a new task previously inconceivable? SAMuRai is a way for you to evaluate, again, how you're using technology in your classroom. You want to design the tasks at the higher levels and also, to get those higher order thinking skills of creativity and evaluating and communicating and collaborating with your students. This slide is from a pioneer in technology. Her name is Catherine Schock. I'm sure many of you heard about her. She created this image of SAMuRai and the 4 levels, starting with enhancement or the bottom 2, transformation or the top 2, and she's linked them to Bloom's. So substitution is the same as remembering in Bloom's. It's at the lower level. When you get up to augmentation, you're adding some functional change. So now this is understanding and applying with Bloom's. And we're all familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, so we can really relate to these levels in SAMuRai. When you get up to modification, that's a significant change. That would be analyzing and evaluating. And again, the top level is redefinition, where students are creating and evaluating, and that's the top level of SAMR and the top level of Bloom's. I just have a link to share some tools that you can use. Some of these tools are outdated, but it's just the idea of how it correlates to Bloom's. So the substitution level, here are the verbs: define, list, recall, identify, label, locate. All right, and if you go across, these are some of the tools that you can use with this level. Augmentation, the same thing. It gives you the level, gives you the verbs, and when you get up to redefinition, it's design, invent, modify. These are just some of the tools and some of the ways that you can look at this and evaluate how you're using technology in your classroom. I have some examples here. It's a link for all different subject areas for you to look at your content area and get some ideas of the different levels of SAMR. I'm just going to select CTE. And as you can see here, this would be for culinary. So it's just giving them maybe create a recipe. Substitution, so they're typing the recipe on a word processor. There's no change, all right? It's the same task. And if you just move up, and when you get to redefinition, the students are creating a video that demonstrates how to follow the recipe, and they link it to maybe their class website, all right? So these lessons are just ways for you to look at your content area and maybe get an idea of how you can get up to that higher level of redefinition and modification. These are just some links for you to look at for other examples of lessons. And now I just want to go over some of the district resources that we have currently in our district. They're great resources, and I just want to remind you of where they are and what they are. So the first one is a SAMR playlist that Alicia DeCepolo created when she sent out an EdTech Tuesday last year on the SAMR model. She's created like 4 videos for you to review and see what is the SAMR model, how you can use it. I mean, it's great videos for you to start using this model in your classroom. The next link I want to go over is our website that Alicia and Lauren have created. It's got great information on it. The first one is learning opportunities, and this is where you can go and see all of their workshops. And pretty soon they're going to have all the summer workshops on here. So this is a great place for you to look at if you can't remember the email or when the workshop was or what you want to attend. This is a great place to look for that. The teacher tools, which I'm not sure if teachers are really aware of this page, but it's a who's the go-to, all right? Big Ideas Math, Bobby Barber. Biology, it gives you how students log on, how many times you forget how they log on to Edmentum. All right, this is a great page for you to use and your students. Google, this is just another resource for teachers, but what I really think you should look at is our webinars. Lauren and Alicia have created many webinars that they've offered before school, at night, for your convenience. So here are a lot of webinars that they have created just for our district. And the last 2 items I want to talk about are some of the standards that we should really be incorporating into our lessons. We have standards 8.1 and 8.2, which are our technology standards, New Jersey Student Learning Standards. So for the elementary level, we have 2 websites to help you incorporate these standards into your lesson. These are all found under Teacher Quick Links, but here we have K-2. So here, kindergarten resources, basic computer skills. We always talk about the students not knowing how to keyboard. We have keyboarding links, coding, internet safety, lots of resources for K-2 teachers to implement and use standards 8.1 and 8.2 in their lessons. Here's the link for grades 3 through 5. And the last site, or what I want to talk about, would be standards 9.1 and 9.2, which are career readiness standards. This is important information that we have to
It'll work.
No. I'm not sure why that link's not working, but
Just click on.
All right, so here's our 21st century life and careers. I don't know if a lot of you have heard, but we have to actually bring financial literacy into middle school. It's a requirement for high school, but at grades K through 8, here are some great resources for you to use to help your students. K to 2, spending. This is for kindergarten to 2nd grade, 3rd grade. Allowances and spending, great resources for you to incorporate standards 9.1 and 9.2 into your lessons. These are the resources that I've used for this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you use the SAMuRai model to evaluate the technology in your classroom. And again, use all the great resources that we have for Millville Public Schools. Thank you.
We're going to add the link to the presentation in the description area. So if you would like to check that out, please go to the comments and find the link.